In this presentation, the video demonstrates how we found our calculations in StatCrunch, while the voiceover is the analysis and interpretation of those results.
Whether you're a vendor trying to make a sale or a host trying to satisfy your guests, it is very important to know what your buyers and guests prefer. The question on whether or not the taste ratings differ based on serving temperature and brand can help vendor and host alike in optimizing the satisfaction of products being served, which in this case is wine. With the research conducted in this project, we are looking to discover whether or not taste ratings are affected based on the temperature in which the wine is being served as well as the brand of wine that's served. The taste ratings are given on a scale of 1 to 4, with 1 being very poor and 4 being excellent. The wine was served at room temperature, slightly chilled, and very cold, and then rated accordingly. The 3 brands tested for this research are Glen Ellen, Ernest and Julio Gallo, and Bell Arbors.
So the best measures of variation for this set of data would be the standard deviation and the variance. The standard deviation of 0.9 for brand BA is higher than the standard deviations for brands E&J and GE. This means that the ratings are more spread out from the average rating. So because the variance for brand BA is higher, this further supports our conclusion that BA is not the most popular brand of wine. And we can look at the E&J variance, and because it's the lowest, we can conclude that E&J is the most popular brand of wine. So because the wine brands are nominal, we have to look at them by the brands. We use the mean and the mode as measures of center. The mean is a good measure of center because it gives us the average rating that each brand received. The mode gives us the rating used most often for each brand. For the brand BA, the mean is 2.083 with a mode of 3. BA received more of the highest rating of 3 than E and J and GE, whose highest rating that appeared most often in the taste test is 2. Looking at just the mode, we could assume that BA was the most popular brand of wine due to its higher mode rating. However, if we take a look into the BA mean, you can find that the BA mean is not the highest of the 3. BA mean score of 2.083 is higher than the GE mean of 1.916, but lower than E&J mean of 2.25. This information, it can tell us that E and J actually had the overall higher average ratings, and the ratings consisted more of 2s and 3s.
From our information, we can see that the temperatures are divided into room, slightly chilled, and very cold. We can put the ratings given for these temperatures into StatCrunch by labeling it through the rows column. We can then click on Stat, Summary Stats, Columns, and then click Room, Slightly Chilled, and Very Cold Temperature. Then, under where it says Statistics, we will click N, Mean, Variance, Standard Deviation, Standard Error, Median, Range, Minimum and Maximum, Quadrant 1, Quadrant 3, and Mode. If we look at our summary statistics for ratings grouped by the temperature, we can find that the temperature with the highest mean is slightly chilled, and slightly chilled also received the highest ratings most often. So what this tells us is that the judges tend to rate the slightly chilled wine with better ratings than the other temperatures of wine. That's why the mean and the mode would be the best measures of center in this certain situation. Looking at the temperatures of very cold and of room temperature, we see that the mean and mode for both are the same, with the mean being 1.83 and the mode of 2. This ultimately tells us that the judges tended to rate these temperatures of wines with scores of 1s and 2s as opposed to 2s and 3s. After calculating these summary statistics, we can come to the conclusion that the brand of E&J and the temperature of very chilled were given the best ratings out of all of the wine combinations that you could have had, and we can assume that the very chilled brand of E&J would receive the highest average rating over any other combinations.
So in order to test which factor or the interaction between the factors has the largest effect on the taster's preference, we can use a two-way ANOVA test. So the null hypothesis for our test is that there is no interaction between brand and temperature, while the alternative hypothesis is that there is an interaction between brand and temperature. With a large p-value of 0.778, the null hypothesis fails to be rejected. Therefore, there's not sufficient evidence to support the claim that there is an interaction between brand and temperature.
Because the interaction results were inconclusive, we need to look at the ANOVA results for both brand and temperature independently. The p-value for the brand test is 0.503, which is larger than the allowance of 0.05. Therefore, we fail to reject the null hypothesis. So we conclude that there is not sufficient evidence to support the claim that at least one of the brands is from a population with a mean different from the others. However, when we look at the p-value for the temperature test, it is 0.017, which is smaller than the significance value of 0.05. Therefore, we reject the null hypothesis. So we conclude that there is sufficient evidence to support the claim that at least one of the temperature values was collected from a population with a different mean than the others. From these results, we can conclude that temperature is more deciding for the rating that the tasters will give over brand.
Based on the data, we can see that the variance for brand Belle Arbors is higher than that of brands Ernest and Giulio Gallo and Glen Ellen. This proves that the brand Belle Arbors is not the most popular brand of wine. Instead, because it has the lowest variance results, brand Ernest and Giulio Gallo is the most popular among the three brands tested. The results from the ANOVA test that were conducted show that the temperature of wine is more important to wine drinkers than the brand of wine itself. Both vendors and hosts can use this knowledge to their advantage by focusing more on the temperature of the wine they are serving rather than the brand of the wine they are serving, as it has been proven that temperature trumps brand.